Welcome to episode number 3 of ON1 Inspiration. My name is Brian Matias. Now, for this episode, we're going to be working with my adorable niece, Ashlyn. Late last year, Nicole and I went to visit her family, my in-laws, in Lincoln, Nebraska. And not far from my sister-in-law's house is this really quaint farm. They have rides for kids, and it's just really nice, especially in the fall when the leaves start to change and the air starts to get a bit crisp. So when we got there, my niece Ashlyn just ran off into this pumpkin patch. Fortunately, I had the right camera and the right lens to get the shot. So for this photo, I have the Sony a7R Mark II, and I have the Zeiss Bodice 85mm 1.8. Now this is an amazing lens for portraits. Your subject is going to be tack sharp, and then the focus fall off is very quick and very, very smooth. It's actually quite pretty when you see the image when we start working on it. And so those of you who know me know that I don't usually photograph people, especially kids. I just don't have access to them. But I really hope that what you see in this video gives you ideas of how you can work on your photos of children or your family. There's a lot of fun you can have, so let's check it out. All right, so let's get started on this photo of my adorable niece, Ashlyn. The first thing I did was open up the photo in ON1 Layers 10. And before I start working on anything, I want to convert the layer to a smart layer. And you can do that by selecting this little gear icon here. And when I press on it, you'll see this little gear icon appear on the layer. Now what doing that does, what converting a layer to a smart layer does, is if I send the photo over to Effects or Enhance or Portrait, ON1 will remember all of the changes I make so that I can come back in the future and re-edit anything I did. It's really nice, and it's something that I highly encourage all of you to do. All right, so now that I have this as a smart layer, I'm going to select on the portrait icon from the toolbar on the right. We're going to start there. So the way that you kick things off in portrait is it'll automatically detect any faces, and when it finds one, it puts a rectangle around it. So naturally, it found Ashlyn's face, and the first thing I'm going to do is just click on it. And now we get a zoomed up view of her face. Now we have to guide portrait just a bit, and you can see if you look at the top, there's instructions that tells you what to do. The first thing it says is to click on the center of the left eye, so I'm going to do that right now. And then on the right eye, then on the left corner of her mouth, and finally the right corner. Now it says click done, which is on the top right next to the navigator. I'm going to click done to start refining the selections that ON1 automatically made. All right, and as you can see, it did a pretty good job of finding the eyes and the mouth, the lips and the teeth. But there is a little bit of refinement that I need to do. So I'm just going to drag from these corners here to refine the shape of her eyes. And then I'm also going to do the same thing with her mouth. So I just need to adjust the upper lip and the lower lip just a bit there. All right, so if you take your cursor off of the active area of the screen, you can see the adjustments made without the masks. The next thing I'm going to do, though, is let me bring this little panel over here. I'm going to select the Adjust Skin Area button, which gives me a mask of what's being affected. And what's great is that the Paint Out brush, the masking brush, is automatically selected. So what I'm going to do is just remove areas here of her hair because we don't want smoothing and stuff on her hair. I never really go too overboard in terms of the mask. So just to get a good selection. The other thing I'm also going to do is select her neck because I don't want to adjust the area here of her neck. And if you're finding it where it's not getting or it's being finicky with the selections, that's just because the perfect brush is on. And you can turn that off just by clicking on this button here. What will happen is it will no longer sample the specific color that the brush lands on, which can be good if you're masking out large areas. But in this case here, I actually really like the perfect brush. It does a really nice job of letting me refine my selections here. And so I'm just going to wrap things up with the rest of her hair. And now that I'm done, I'm going to go ahead now and adjust. So we have these panels on the right here, and for the most part, my niece is very young. She doesn't really need any blemish removal or smoothing. So I'm going to bring the blemishes slider way down, and I'm going to bring smoothing down as well. I will bring out the shadows though to help minimize any shadows in the face. And you can see that it got just a little bit brighter, which is nice. And then I'm also going to increase the evenness, which averages out the skin color. And this is something that I think anyone can benefit from, no matter what age you are. I don't need to do any color correction here, but I will go to the eyes and mouth. And so you can see with the eyes and mouth, if I turn off the panel, you can see that the eyes got a little dim and the mouth got a little dim. So I really like the effect that it has. I'm going to bring the whitening of the eyes up a bit more, and I'm also going to increase the detail to give it a little bit more of a bite, a little sharpness in the eyes. That's a bit too much. That's getting a bit fake, so I'll bring that down. In terms of the mouth whitening, I'm going to bring the whitening up there a little bit more, and I'm also going to increase the vibrance just a bit. Now if we go down here to the preview button, here's the before, there's the after. You can see it's just very subtle, and I'm going to bring it back to the full screen view. Before and after, and just look at her face. See, just her face is being affected, and just it pops. So it's a little thing like that that I really like to do. I don't photograph people very often, but when I do, it's those little things, in my opinion, that make a huge difference. All right, so from that, we're going to swing right over to effects. I'm just going to select the effects button on the toolbar on the right and get started. All right, so the first thing we'll do in effects, I always build my filter stack manually. I don't use presets. So I'm going to select add filter, and you guessed it, dynamic contrast. Now, it does a really nice job here overall, except what I want to do is bring the large slider. It's at 20 right now. I'm going to just type in 5, and I'm going to leave medium alone. The other thing I'm going to do is increase the vibrance of this layer here. I'm just going to bring it up just a bit, so that adds a little bit of a color boost. Now, I don't want the effect applied to the skin of my niece, so I'm going to take the masking brush from the left and then go to the gear at the toolbar on the top and select perfect brush. Now I'm just going to mask out the areas of the skin here. I don't want the effect applied anywhere to her face. I'm okay with it being in her hair because it adds a little bit of texture. And to be sure where the mask is being applied, if you click on the mask preview button, which is next to the image preview button, you can see here. So I still need to refine this just a bit. And again, what it's doing is it's sampling the color that the center of the brush lands on. And so just get the rest of her neck, and we're good. This is fine. For the most part, the entire effect has been masked out. So I'll turn the mask preview off, and I'm going to select add filter to move on. All right, now I want to apply the base stylistic layer, and I'm going to do that by selecting antique, which is a filter that I don't use very often. All right, so this is the stock antique filter. The first thing I want to do is go to the color down here and change it from Moscow to Stockholm. Personally, I'm not a fan of film grain on images like this. So I'm going to take the amount of film grain, which is at 100, and bring it to 0, which effectively turns it off. It's just not for me. It's not something I really find visually appealing in color photos. Black and white photos is a totally different story. The other thing I'm going to do here is take the saturation slider and increase it just to really let that color pop. You can see what it did, this antique filter. It kind of faded, as the name would suggest. It faded the image, but it added a little bit of color pop and a little bit of a cool tone. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to move on. The next filter I'm going to apply is one of my favorites in effects, and it's called Sunshine. So even the default filter I think is great, but what I want to do is change the blending mode from normal, and you could do that. I hit this little gear icon, from normal to soft light. You can see it adds a really nice kind of color boost and a contrast boost. I'm going to increase the glow, and I'm also going to increase the warmth, which will warm up the overall tone of the photo. And so watch, I'll turn this off. You can see what it does. It just adds a really nice boost right there. All right, let's add another filter. And now what I want to do is add a custom vignette. And to do that, I'm going to select vignette, and I'm going to take the crosshair and I'm going to click on Ashlyn's face. And what that does is it kind of biases the center of the vignette around her. And now I'm going to take that brightness and I'm going to bring that down. So we really darken the area around her. And the focus goes right to her face here. All right, so we can call this photo done, but there is an optional step that I want to show you, and I like it, so let's check it out. I'm going to add one more filter, and this time I'm going to select texturizer. And one of my favorite textures that's come with ON1's suite of products for years is called Rice Paper Vignette. So if you select the preset dropdown, you'll see Rice Paper Vignette right down there. And the first thing I want to do is change the blending mode. So I'm going to select the gear, and then I'm going to drop down to soft light. Now, at 100%, it's way too strong. So I'm going to bring this down to about 60%. And then I'm going to take the masking brush and change the opacity from 100% down to about 30% or so. And I'm going to make these broad strokes around Ashlyn's face. And what this does is it lets me remove the texture overlay in small increments, so it's not too abrupt. And so you can see here, I like it actually on her hair, so I'm keeping it on her hair, and I've removed most of it from her face, which is perfect. And so watch, let's just do the before and the after. So this is our original photo with the ON1 portrait fixes done to her face. And then with stylization, we get this really, really cute poppy image. I love it. I love the way she's posed right there. And the effects that we've applied here really complement the photo and bring it to a different stylistic level. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of ON1 Inspiration. Thanks a lot, everyone.